Well, AFCON results in Senegal, who beats Morocco 1-0. But, oh my God. And by the way, right now when I'm recording this, Barca's losing. I don't even know how Barca's losing. They're losing to Sociedad, so I got to check in what's going on there. But I wanted to post a video here because if you guys have been following me on X, you would know I was losing my mind, bro. I've been watching this game on the couch. I got my wool socks on. All right, my space heater, and I watched the match fixing, man. So Senegal ends up winning. I felt like the game was pretty even. You know, I think a lot of people with this game, I knew this was going to be a really good game today. These two teams, really, really organized, passionate units, and really dug their way deep to get to this final. So I was going to be shocked if we had more than 2 goals. I really thought this game was going to go to penalties. Final stats, 50-50 possession. Morocco with 2.2 XG. Senegal 1.75. But I wanted to do the reaction because I got a couple things to talk about. One of them you guys already know. And the funny part about this game, I watched all 90 minutes. It felt like a lot of people were tuning into this game once they went on Twitter and was seeing everybody was kind of going nuts about what was happening because essentially, we didn't have all that much action happening in this game until we got into the added time of normal. So like the 92nd minute, I think there was a +6. So I, was saying I felt like Senegal got absolutely robbed. I don't know who the Senegal player was, but Senegal gets this corner in the 90th minute, right? And the Senegal player is one-on-one versus Hakimi. A little push-off, like nothing crazy. I mean, Hakimi sells it, but it was a really weak, push-off. And Senegal ends up scoring on this play, but literally after the initial player on Senegal heads the ball, hits the post, I think, and then it rebounds off into the middle, the referee just starts blowing his whistle, right? Because Hakimi's on the ground, he calls the foul. And literally at that moment, the other Senegal player heads the ball in the net and they get the goal and they think they score. And so I hate when referees do this because, I'm not a VAR this, VAR that guy. VAR is really annoying as the spectator. I understand why it's in the game. But my annoyance is that a lot of these referees don't let the play on so that they can go use the VAR. So what happens is the referee, it's impossible for this one to go to VAR because the referee decides to blow his whistle in the middle of the ball is bouncing off a rebound because he thinks it was a foul. I'm like, yo, you got to let it play out so they can go review it and then decide. Because let me tell you this, if that play went to review, I was saying on my Twitter, I said this, Senegal absolutely robbed, not a foul. Hakimi needs to get in that weight room. Game is gone. Unbelievable robbery from the referee because that's how I felt. And Hakimi went down so soft. I love Hakimi. I think he's a hell of a footballer. But there's no way he's that weak. He went down really soft. I mean, this was less contact than playing flag football, man. In that one-on-one, if you're a defensive player and, wide receiver, less contact than that, and he goes down for that. And then literally in the next play, Brahim Diaz off the corner, you can make the argument it was a foul. It was a soft foul, and he wasn't going to score, I don't think. He was going for a bike. The Senegal player kind of grabs him a bit by the neck, but it wasn't anything crazy. That one, the referee lets play on. He lets play on. And then they go to the VAR. So, it's one of those ones where, the refs, look, in that situation, there was no reason for him to not let it play on, right? What was he going to call a foul on Brahim Diaz for flopping? Which he didn't. Obviously, Brahim Diaz, there was contact against him. But, bro, I was just like, ref, you got to let this stuff play on, man. Because when these refs do this, they make me sit on my couch and tweet stuff like, just watch the 90 minutes of a 0-0 only for a ref to completely and evidently rig a match. What a joke this happens in front of our eyes on global television. So then what happens? Before anything happens, right? The ref, he's going to VAR. He calls it a penalty. So it was a really soft penalty. And at that point, I feel like I'm being rage baited. People on their couch are losing their minds. I'm sure even Moroccans were like, this is crazy. Because the other end, a couple minutes before, Senegal actually scores a goal. But they don't get the chance to even go over that goal. It wasn't a foul. I'll stand on that. It was not a foul because the referee decides to stop it midway. Whereas at the other end, he lets the full play on. Then he goes to the VAR and gives a soft penalty. So everybody's getting pissed off, right? So what happens in this game before we advance at all, Senegal players start going to the tunnel. So if you missed this, Senegal, I never really watched the football game where in the middle of the game, the Senegalese players go into the tunnel. They just leave. And this is like, we're at, we had like +8. It was like 105 minutes now at this point because, they're stalling. People were saying it was for some other reason. I don't know. So then eventually Mane calls in everybody back. They all come back. Morocco takes the penalty. And I said this. Look, I said Senegal players walking off the pitch as they should. Morocco clearly had paid up for this match. What a effing joke. And the game was in Morocco. And like I always say this to people are too naive and people think I'm crazy. There's a lot of match fixing. There's a lot of corruption in the world, bro. I feel like this was very clear and evident to me that this was at least how does match fixing work? Well, can you totally rig it one way? No, but for example, in other sports, you can give more calls. In basketball, you can give more free throws. In NFL and in American football, you can give more flags on the play, more pass interferences, more, let's just say calls that are up for interpretation. How can you do it in this beautiful game with football? You've seen it today. The referee does a really bad decision and just stops a play in the middle of the play and then goes to VAR on it. You know what I'm saying? So, look, it's possible. I think it probably was happening here today. So then what happens? Brahim Diaz, Morocco's having this team meeting while Senegal's players are walking off. They come back. Brahim Diaz, he steps up. He tries the Panenka. And, bro, Mendy, who, by the way, people forget what a hell of a season Mendy had a couple years ago with Chelsea, makes the save that Senegal will remember forever. All right? He saves their chances. And just like that, they believe. And it's like you're watching the couch. You're sitting on the couch watching. You're like, ball doesn't lie. Ball does not lie. And if you see it on my Twitter, the video is still up about not even a review. You guys will see it. I mean, it was such a goal and not a foul. It's insane to me that was called off or the ref blew it for a foul midway. So ball doesn't lie. Brahim Diaz misses it. I feel for the guy. Look, I'm not getting... Guys, I love both these sides, and I've been reacting to all the Morocco goals. Like, I got no bias in this game. I just want to see a fair match. I felt like it was a lot of bullshit happening at the end of this game. And that's why that's why AFCON can get the rep that people don't take it seriously. Because it's like, what is going on here? How is this even possible? Right? So then, ball doesn't lie. We go to extra time. I'm still annoyed at the referee. Because what a mess within that. What a mess. I'm not going to tell you what I said to the tweet about going to Rikers Island, but you can go look at that. We get into extra time. Guys, let me tell you this. I looked into this today. Bon Jovi, right? The goalkeeper for Morocco. He's never had a transfer value more than 20 million. Can you believe that? He's one of the most impressive tournament goalkeepers that I've ever seen in my life. Like, he's made in this tournament alone 10 level highlight saves that would be other goalkeepers' best saves in their career. The guy is ridiculous. The guy is not human. The guy is the reason they got into the final with the last shootout. He's insane. I mean, you look at the clubs he's played for. He's played for some pretty good clubs. He's in the Saudi league now. The guy is a freak. Literally insane. What happens in extra time? Gay on Senegal. I mean, he kind of has this like moment in I think it was, what was the minute? The 94th minute. Yeah, he like, it's kind of misdribbling and, things are going weird. And then, bro, he just rockets a shot, top right. Rockets on the left foot. So it was one of the goals of the year. If you missed it, go watch it. And then, bro, Morocco hits the post in the second extra time off a corner. I mean, just back and forth. AFCON was so weird this year because so many of the games in the knockouts, especially the last couple, really close, less than one expected goal both games. But this game was it just opened up, and it's the football that we all like to see in that extra time. And then Bon Jovi again. Senegal has a crazy chance. It's one of the best saves I've ever seen. It was a double save too, apparently. Bends down, saves it, and then the rebound somehow, I think he parries it wide, or the Senegal player misses it wide. I don't know. So Senegal end up winning this game. Morocco fans, they're going to be disappointed because they had it. Whether or not they would have felt like validated or deserved that they would have won the game the way they won it, they had this game to win. And they're going to be devastated because, oh my God. But guys, let me say this. Both of these teams, right? Both of these teams, in terms of the World Cup, scary, man. Scary teams. Both these teams really remind me of a lot of South American teams in the way that they just play for their nation, bro. Did you see the dude on Morocco who he gets in this concussion level thing with Senegal, and he's bleeding, and he fucking wraps his head? These guys, it's a different level. The South American teams, I think I'm starting to think some of these better teams coming out of Africa, it's just different, man, compared to the European teams, bro. They actually want to die out there. They don't care. So that's what, when you're watching, that's why people like watching fights and stuff. It's so good to watch because these guys care so much. Listen, Senegal is an insanely athletic team, bro. They're going to give some teams real problems, bro. They're always a solid team, but I think they're going to really take it to another level. And look, I was impressed with Nigeria. Last round too, Morocco got by Nigeria, but they looked good. And Morocco is always tough. Guys, Morocco got third, right? The last World Cup, third or fourth. I mean, they're always tough. So they're going to be right there in it. Morocco as well. El Kabi had a chance, I forgot to mention, in the middle of the game. Oh my God. The guy only scores bicycle kicks. It's true. He had a really good chance and he missed it wide. So both teams had chances to win this game. I ultimately it really was going to come down to a strike like Papa Gay that he had. Like, that was just crazy. Banger top right. Morocco had the penalty to win it all. Some people on Twitter are saying that they felt like Brahim Diaz in that huddle, they talked about missing it. Guys, there's no way he was going to miss it on purpose. There's like just no way. I don't believe that. So, yeah, man. AFCON, Senegal wins. What a game. One of those scenarios where like I do feel like there was some match fixing going on for Morocco, and match fixing is not always full bulletproof. It doesn't always work. It's like, I don't know how it works. Someone gets a payment, they're being told by someone with a lot of power to help this team more than the other team, but it doesn't mean for sure that team's going to win. It's impossible to fully rig a match, right? Because not everybody's behind it. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's how it seemed to me in this game. Unless this is just the worst referee of all time, right? But this ref, honestly, man, he should not be refereeing tournament matches anymore. That was a joke. He pretty much, I'm not saying like, oh, because Senegal won, he didn't ruin the game. I'm still mad about that. But even if Morocco ended up winning in extra time, I wouldn't be mad because it wouldn't be down to the referee. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's what I hate, when it's down to the referee. Like, if we watched those 90 minutes and it came down to that last 2-minute sequence where he makes one bad call and then another bad call, it's like pissing me off. So I'm just happy the game didn't end that way. And the extra time was a thriller, man. Morocco got pretty unlucky. Missed the penalty, hit the post. El Kaabi missed another chance. But then again, Senegal, they played really well in this game. Very athletic. And Bono was the reason that Senegal didn't score 2 or 3. So what a game. Really happy I watched that. We'll go back into bed. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you guys, man. Have a good one.